Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast.
Great to be back.
Today, we're tackling a question that seems to be on a lot of minds. Is Amprius Technologies a good time to buy right now?
Yeah, there's definitely buzz around them.
Absolutely. And we've gathered, well, quite a stack of sources. We've got their Q2 2025 financials, analyst reports, technical charts, future catalysts, the whole picture.
A lot to unpack there.
Exactly. Our goal, as always, is to kind of cut through the noise, pull out the really important insights, and help you get up to speed on Amprius quickly.
Make sense of it all.
Before we jump in, though, if you're finding these analyses valuable, please do take a second to subscribe, like, maybe leave a comment.
It really helps us out.
It does. And hey, if there's a specific company you want us to explore like this in the future, just drop it in the comments below.
We do read those.
All right, let's get into it. Let's unpack the fundamentals of Amprius Technologies. What's really driving all this recent attention?
Okay, so the first thing that just leaps out, really leaks out from the sources, is their top-line growth. It's exceptional.
Exceptional how?
Well, for Q2 2025, Amprius reported revenue of $15.1 million. Now, that's a 350% increase compared to the same time last year.
Wow, 350%.
Yeah. And if you look at the first half of 2025 overall, the jump is even bigger, 364%, bringing their total to $26.4 million.
Okay, that's significant. What's behind that?
It seems to be mainly fueled by really strong demand for their Secor batteries. That's their advanced silicon anode tech. Plus, they added 43 new customers, so real market traction.
That 350% growth is certainly eye-popping, but, the question always is, with these high-growth tech stories, sustainability, right? Is this just a quick burst, or can they keep it up? And what about the bottom line? Are they actually making money?
That's the critical question for investors right now. While that revenue surge is undeniable, getting the full picture on profitability, it's not right there in the press summaries.
You have to dig deeper.
Exactly. For the explicit gross and net margin data, you'd really need to look into their full 10Q filing. But what the sources consistently point out is that Amprius is still reporting net losses.
Right.
Which, is pretty typical for these early-stage, high-growth battery tech companies. They're pouring money into scaling up.
Right. The R&D, the manufacturing.
Precisely. But it's the rate of that cash burn compared to how much cash they have and can raise that becomes the key thing to watch.
So classic tech startup situation then. Amazing growth potential, but still burning cash. How stable is their financial health if they're running at a loss? That sounds, risky.
It is a risk factor, absolutely. Management indicates that their current cash, plus anything they get from recent or future equity offerings, should fund operations for at least the next 12 months.
Only 12 months.
At least 12, based on their projections. But, and this is crucial, the sources are clear, the company will likely need more capital to keep up this ambitious growth and cover those expected losses.
And how are they getting that capital? Debt.
Mostly through issuing more stock, equity issuance. That's common at this stage. The good news is there's no significant long-term debt burden reported.
Okay, so no big loans hanging over them.
Right. But operating cash flow is still negative, again, because of heavy investment in R&D and scaling up production. And that continuous cash outflow is definitely flagged as a major risk.
And that equity issuance means potential dilution for existing shareholders, right?
Exactly. It's something you always need to consider. If they issue more shares to raise cash, your existing slice of the company gets smaller, potentially. It's that classic trade-off: capital now for growth later, but maybe less ownership percentage per share.
Got it. So they're a leader in their niche, clearly, but it's a tough, expensive race. The battery world is incredibly competitive. What makes their silicon anode tech really stand out? Is it just a bit better, or a genuine step change for things like electric planes?
That really is the core of their whole value proposition. Amprius isn't just tweaking existing tech. They're positioned as a leader because of this proprietary silicon anode technology.
And what does that mean practically?
Basically, they can pack much more energy into a battery of the same size and weight compared to traditional graphite anodes. Significantly more.
Higher energy density.
Exactly. And they're not aiming for, say, your phone battery. They're focused on very specific high-performance uses. Think electric aviation, advanced drones, maybe some specialized EVs where weight and energy are absolutely critical.
So lighter batteries, longer flight times, more range.
Precisely. It enables things that weren't really feasible before in those sectors, and securing that 1.8 gigawatt hours of contract manufacturing capacity, that's a big deal.
Put that in perspective for us.
Well, 1.8 gigawatt, that's enough capacity to potentially power hundreds, maybe thousands of advanced drones for a year, or a decent fleet of specialized electric aircraft. It shows they're serious about supplying this demanding market.
Okay, that makes sense.
But the challenge, the big hurdle, is scaling that specific production efficiently and getting the costs down to compete with the big guys and, other well-funded startups chasing similar goals.
Right. That context on the tech really helps understand the excitement. So we see the potential, we see the hurdles. But the market often moves ahead of actual profits, doesn't it?
Often does, yeah.
So for those of you watching the charts, how is this high-risk, high-reward story playing out in the stock price? Let's look at the technicals. What are investors actually doing?
Okay. Switching gears to the charts. Looking at, say, late August through early September 2025, the stock's been bouncing around quite a bit, trading in a range roughly between $6.20 and $8.30.
A little then.
Oh, yeah. Noticeable volatility, volume spikes, especially right after that Q2 earnings news drop. The technical suggests pretty solid support held around that $6 to $6.20 level. It got tested after earnings, but held up.
And on the upside, where's the resistance?
Resistance seems to have formed between $8.40 and $8.60. Those were the multi-week highs it hit after the positive Q2 commentary came out.
Okay, so a defined range recently. What about the shorter-term trend and those indicators traders watch, moving averages, RSI, MACD? What's the vibe there?
Well, Amprius definitely had a good run after those earnings, a clear upward bias in the short term. But right now, it seems to be hitting its head against that resistance near $8.50. It's struggling to break through there.
And the moving averages?
The 20-day simple moving average, the SMA, it's trending up. Actually looks like it's heading towards a potential bullish crossover with the 50-day SMA. Traders often see that as a positive sign.
And momentum.
RSI. The RSI, Relative Strength Index, is sitting around 60, so that suggests moderately bullish sentiment. It's moved up, but it's not yet in that overbought zone technically, so maybe some room left to run.
What? I sense a but.
Well, the Métis moving average convergence divergence, while it's still showing positive momentum overall, it has started to flatten out recently.
Meaning?
It could signal a pause, maybe some consolidation coming, or that the upward momentum is losing a bit of steam, at least for now. And remember, this stock has a beta over 2.
Meaning it moves more than the market.
A lot more than twice as much on average. So high volatility is just part of the package here. That flattening MACD, combined with the high beta, means any pause could potentially lead to sharp pullbacks. It's definitely something traders need to watch closely.
Okay, so strong growth, but definitely high risk, high volatility confirmed by the charts. Given all that context, what's been happening more recently with Amprius? And what should investors really be watching for in the next few months?
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting, especially if you're following the story closely. The last 3 months have seen some significant operational moves.
Like what?
Well, in September, they announced a schedule of events for investor engagement keeping communication lines open. And it's worth noting, our sources mention 9 analysts still rate it a strong buy with a price target implying like 78% upside from current levels.
That's a bullish consensus.
It is. Then back in August, you had those strong Q2 results we talked about. Plus, they disclosed securing that 1.8 gigawatt hours of contract manufacturing capacity, huge for meeting demand.
Right, we covered that.
And even further back, in July, they were talking about accelerating manufacturing partnerships and R&D. And they had third-party confirmation of battery metrics hitting 500 watt-hours per kilogram.
Okay, 500 WHQOs. That sounds impressive, but translate that. Why is that number such a big deal for, say, an electric aircraft designer? Is it truly leading edge?
Oh, absolutely. For practical, deployable lithium-ion tech, 500 WHQOM is definitely market-leading right now. For an aircraft designer, it's simple physics, less battery weight for the same amount of energy,
Which it means.
more range, or they can carry more payload, or even design smaller, lighter planes to begin with. It's a potential game changer in aviation economics and capability.
Got it. So real momentum operationally. What about specific upcoming catalysts, dates we should circle on the calendar?
Okay, key dates. We'll get a preliminary look at Q3 2025 earnings around September 30th. But the main event is the full Q3 earnings report and the conference call scheduled for November 6th.
Why is that call so crucial?
That's where you'll hopefully get confirmation. Is that strong revenue growth continuing? Are they making any progress, even small steps, on improving margins? Are they announcing more customer wins? That call will be critical.
Anything else beyond earnings?
Yeah, keep an eye on broader market stuff too. There's a major ETF rebalancing period around October 20th. And then the public disclosure of institutional holdings, who owns what comes out around December 1st.
How did that impact a stock like Amprius?
Well, for a volatile stock like this, big funds buying or selling during ETF rebalances or changes in institutional ownership can definitely move the price, sometimes significantly, just due to the flow of money.
Okay, those are the scheduled events. But what about the whispers, the rumors, the speculative catalysts that often drive these kinds of stocks? Anything floating around?
Oh, for sure. The rumor mill is always active with names like this. There's persistent market talk about Amprius potentially landing a really high-profile battery supply deal with a major aerospace OEM, maybe later in 2025.
That would be huge validation.
Absolutely. Huge. There's also ongoing speculation about maybe a multi-million-dollar government grant or perhaps a contract with the U.S. Department of Defense. Either of those would be massive. It would accelerate adoption and bring in cash without diluting shareholders.
And the other whispers.
Yeah, industry sources suggest they might announce a major new domestic manufacturing facility, to scale up production and play into those Buy American initiatives. That could generate a lot of positive buzz.
Makes sense.
And finally, there's still a lot of anticipation for Amprius to publish more third-party benchmark data, maybe on their next-generation battery tech. If those numbers impress, it could spark even more interest from industry.
So lots of potential catalysts, both confirmed and speculative. What about the longer view, say 2 to 5 years out? What are the big milestones then?
Longer term, it really comes down to a few key things. First, successfully commercializing at a much, much larger scale. That's going to require serious investment.
So funding those big factories.
Exactly. Key decisions around building new, maybe gigafactory scale facilities and actually raising the capital to do it will be critical. Second, landing those big multi-year supply agreements with major OEMs or governments, that provides stability and predictability.
Right, de-risks the story a bit.
It does. And third, just the broader sector tailwinds. Regulatory pushes for electrification, especially in aviation and defense, policy support, that could lift the whole sector, Amprius included. Those are the big picture drivers.
Okay, we've covered the growth, the tech, the potential catalysts. But investing isn't just about upside. Understanding the risks is absolutely critical, especially here. What should listeners really be aware of?
You're absolutely right. And when we synthesize the risk assessments from our sources, the overall rating for Amprius comes out as a 4 out of 10.
Ooh, 4 out of 10. That's
Yeah.
quite low. Why so cautious?
It reflects that this is still very much a high-risk proposition. You're betting heavily on future execution, not current profitability. The sources highlight several key stock-specific risks. First, product scaling risk.
We talked about that. Hard to do.
Very hard. Demand might be strong, but actually mass-producing these advanced batteries consistently and cost-effectively. Huge technical and operational challenges. Hiccups are almost inevitable, and they cost money.
What else?
Significant liquidity risk. Management themselves basically say they'll need more cash. That likely means more equity issuance, leading to that potential shareholder dilution we discussed.
Okay. Dilution risk.
Then there's customer concentration. If they rely heavily on just a few big customers, any delay or cancellation from one of them could really hurt. And finally, competition. The battery space is fierce. A breakthrough from someone else or even a regulatory shift could change the landscape quickly.
So those are company-specific risk. What about broader market or sector issues? Especially with that high beta you mentioned.
Good point. Those broader risks are definitely notable too. Market volatility, general economic slowdowns, speculative tech stocks like Amprius often get hit first and hardest.
High beta cuts both ways.
Exactly. And the battery sector itself, it's super capital intensive, needs constant investment, it's prone to big swings in sentiment, and it's highly sensitive to commodity prices, lithium, cobalt, nickel. If those prices spike, it messes with their costs.
Yeah, supply chain vulnerabilities.
Right. And always, always looming is the threat of technological obsolescence. Someone, whether it's a giant incumbent or a nimble startup, could come out with something even better faster. That's a constant pressure.
Okay, so putting it all together, the growth, the tech, the catalysts, but also the very real risks.
Yeah.
What does this all mean for someone actually considering Amprius technologies right now? What's the bottom line investment outlook?
It really boils down to a stark contrast, doesn't it? The strengths are clear. That phenomenal top-line growth, evidence of early market adoption, genuinely differentiated battery tech, and a strong product market fit in those high-value areas like aviation and defense.
That's the bull case.
That's the bull case. But the weaknesses are equally significant, and you cannot ignore them. Persistent net losses, potentially getting bigger before they get smaller, ongoing cash burn, the almost certain need for more capital, which could mean more dilution, and just substantial operational and tech risks that come with any pre-profit, hardware-heavy startup trying to scale complex manufacturing.
Plus, limited trading liquidity and not huge Wall Street coverage.
Right, all flagging it as a genuinely high-risk situation.
So what about valuation? And how should someone think about the investment horizon? Is this a quick trade or a long-term hold despite the risks?
Valuation is tricky. Our sources note that the big brokerage models don't really cover it in detail yet, but just looking at market cap versus sales, those ratios are definitely high compared to established battery players or broader tech manufacturers.
Pricing in a lot of future success.
Exactly. It reflects that huge growth potential, but also all the risk and speculation baked in. Now, for short-term trading, that high volatility, the big swings around news events like earnings or contract announcements, maybe there are opportunities there for sophisticated, active traders who understand the risks.
But for a long-term investor.
For a buy and hold long-term investor, especially someone more conservative, the sources generally suggest it's not that attractive yet. Not until they demonstrate they can achieve commercial scale, manage the cash burn, and show a clear path to profitability. Right now, it's still a high-stakes bet on the future, not on current solid fundamentals.
A bet on the vision, essentially.
Precisely. So after digging through all this on Amprius Technologies, balancing that undeniable growth story against some pretty significant operational and financial hurdles, what specific piece of news or maybe what upcoming event do you think is the most critical one to watch? The one that might really signal which way this company is heading. Is it nailing those Q3 numbers? Landing that rumored aerospace deal? Successfully raising the next round of funding without too much dilution? Something else. We hope today's discussion has given you a much clearer framework for your own research and thinking on Amprius.